Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
And hey, you should check out some of our friends on the internet that these guys are going to tell you about.
One of those friends is comicsfix.com, online Netflix of comics. They are a internet library of great indie books. You pay one subscription, you get access to tons of fantastic things on there. Sal's a couple books. Go on, check them out.
You can also check us out at the Garden State Comic Fest on August 23rd at the Morristown Hyatt. We'll be there live and in person along with other cool people.
Totally. We're probably going to do a live Back Issues at the show. Since the last time we recorded, I thought maybe we might get a special comic book celebrity guest. We're not. We're not going to use any of this.
Is it somebody cool?
It was Dan Sly. It was the guy who wrote Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he's like not above doing that. He goes to different shows. This is one of the stores that he used to shop at back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Nope.
Where's the love, Dan?
I know, right? The fuck?
Damn. Fuck you, Dan Sly.
Fuck you, professional in the industry.
Keep making great books.
Yeah, and don't blacklist me from the industry if I ever want to break in. I'm trying really hard.
Well, we're not working.
This is not helping. No,
we're not.
Oh, this isn't. No.
Yeah, there's nobody to see this.
No,
It's not working.
Today, we're talking about Batman Nightfall. Now, this was a epic, sprawling Batman saga story. This came right on the heels of the death of Superman.
Okay.
Naturally, DC was like, death of Superman hit big. We milked the crap out of that cow. Because it wasn't just Superman died, right? Superman dies, okay, fine, right? That's an epic book. They got their New York Times article. They got their Newsweek cover story.
They shocked the world.
Yeah, they killed Superman. And a kind of fun story. Like, it's schlock, but, like, who cares? And Dan Jurgens' art really is something to be admired.
Okay.
And it came with all these really neat things. Like, as a kid buying it, like, right when that happened, it was kind of neat. Because, like, it came in a poly bag. It's a black bag, red S. The S was bleeding. And when you open the poly bag, you got a poster of all the DC characters at Superman's funeral.
Oh, wow.
And
Why would anyone want that?
It was cool. I had it on my door in my bedroom when I was a kid for years.
I imagine it's awesome, but at the same time, it's really morbid.
Oh, it's very morbid, yeah.
But it's such a, like, milestone.
Yeah, it's a shocking image.
History.
It's like a Metallica
It would have
poster.
been if he'd stayed dead.
It's like fucking
Right.
badass.
No.
Look at all these people, and Superman's dead.
Yeah.
dead.
The world sucks.
And it was cool to see, like, who is going to be Superman's pallbearers. And it was... Anyway, it also came with a black armband with an S on it, so you could show your solidarity.
I was
These days
there
it would
when
be a
Superman
bracelet.
died.
It'd be a
Sweatbands.
WWSD.
Yeah.
A lot of shit was going on in the 90s with DC, particularly Superman dies, and then...
Well, what do you do after Superman dies?
Right? What do you do? Well, they didn't cancel any of his books.
Right.
Which I thought was kind of peculiar. As, like, a 10-year-old, I was like...
Well, how is his book still going?
I'm not reading a book about grieving family members, and like you had an issue where like his mom was sad, and his dad was sad, and Lois was sad, and Jimmy was sad, and Perry was sad, and the superheroes are sad. And what is Metropolis going to do now that Superman's gone? And all
Lex Luthor's laughing.
Yeah, well, actually, Lex Luthor had been dead, and his illegitimate clone, who was pretending to be his son, was in place right at that point. And it turned out that it was actually Lex Luthor the entire time, and he had downloaded his consciousness into that clone body. But none of that matters because DC's like, we gotta upset the apple cart for Batman too. So let's introduce this stupid, nonsensical character named Bane. Oh!
This was the first time Bane came out?
The debut of Bane! Before the hilarious voice and before the Nolan trilogy, there was Bane, who was like a South American Argentinian prisoner who had been experimented on with a drug called Venom. Not to be confused with the alien symbiote.
They invented Venom for this character, right?
Yes. Well, actually, the Venom came before, during a story called Batman Venom, where Batman is fatigued and he winds up actually taking the drug and being addicted to it. It was a steroids awareness book, but it was also kind of like an interesting story about Batman like succumbing to his limits. And
does he like freak out and punch a lot of people?
No, it's not like Jimmy in South Park or a after-school special, but he is like, I need help, Alfred. So, you know, there's a lot of that.
I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, it's actually a really badass cover, but the book never really delivers on the cover's promise, because the cover is this image of Batman, and he's got this maniacal grin, and he's got this 5 o'clock shadow, and he's just like, and you're like, whoa! And then you read the book, and you're like, alright. And it's just,
That's a big deal.
Batman learns he has friends and people to support him.
Right.
But they create Venom in this, place where Bane comes from, and they wind up, experimenting on him with the drug. And Bane winds up freeing himself, and he kills a bunch of people to escape, and, while he's in prison, he, develops this bizarre fascination with, an obsession with Batman, because Batman's, the ultimate, warrior. Not the warrior, but, the ultimate, badass.
Right.
No, I
And
want
he's
him to be the ultimate warrior.
Yeah,
with
he's
the
like,
face paint.
"Ooh." That's
Was
almost
he
like
a-
that in Dark Knight Returns.
Was he a fighter of some sort?
Bane? He wasn't like a luchador or anything like that, no. He was
Because the
just...
mask.
Because he
is
does have
really-
that mask.
Yes.
Bane has hair,
Oh,
apparently.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he actually has long hair. He has a ponytail.
No, maybe later on, but
Later
right
on,
here,
yeah,
it's
because he has the holes in the back of his head so that he can get the venom into
Right.
his system faster.
Right. So he
And they
doesn't,
shape
he doesn't have a mouth thing, right?
No,
That they invented that.
they made that up. Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's really... Well, it's just supposed to mimic the mask.
Right. They're like, we can't do a mask. It's gotta be a
we
thing.
can't do tubes that are going into your skull.
Well,
Right.
that too.
That's right.
But they also can't do the mask, I'm sure, because people would think that he's a luchador.
Right.
Which he's not.
She's not.
With this first volume, you've got basically 6 or 7 titles of Batman that run concurrently,
And it takes
a year
okay.
of because they kind of came out like 1 or 2 every 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
So
That's a lot of books all about one topic.
yes. Oh yeah. Well, because
How
alright,
many Batman books are there?
at this point,
At this point.
there's Batman, there's Detective Comics, there's Shadow of the Bat. There's DC Showcase, there's Nightwing, there's Robin, there's the Legends of the Dark Knight. So there's probably
Sounds like a
7.
mess.
Oh my god.
It's a total mess, and they all have different artists, and they all have different writers, and they're all trying to tell
So they all
one
have to
story.
work together to figure out okay, what
Yeah,
happens.
I think there was
Your
actually
issue, this is what happens.
there were probably only 2 or 3 writers now that I think
Okay.
about it, but and they all had one guiding director,
Right.
one editor who was kind of overseeing the whole story, and the whole story itself is very. It's such a mistake to collect it all in one volume because it does not read well all in one volume. Because there's so many different perspectives and voices and stories going on.
Right. Are some of the things even happening simultaneously?
Yeah!
in the books?
Oh, there's a story. Okay, so, we know, based on the cover, that Batman gets his back broken at the end of the story. At the end of this volume. After he gets his back broken, then we get another story that Robin is remembering that they had when this was going on to an adventure with Two-Face that, we never got to see, and...
That's kind of a who cares moment.
Yeah, at this point you're like, we know you beat Two-Face.
Okay.
He doesn't, by the way, even show up in this story until that
Until
moment.
the flashback.
Yeah.
That's really okay. So, because I was looking through this, and I'm like, all right, where does his back get broken? And I see him fighting Bane on a thing.
Yes.
And then he falls off.
That's new Batman. That's Batman's replacement.
That's Batman's
So
replacement.
that's already...
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
So that
I
already
got
happened.
confused because he's wearing the
The
old
same
Bat
costume, but you can notice he's different
He
because
does
he's wearing
have those arm things.
he's wearing gauntlets.
I see.
So okay.
oh man.
The new Batman, by the way, is named Jean-Paul Valley, who was a supervillain and then kind of superhero named Azrael, who was a product of the 90s. And he's basically this brainwashed guy who, by the church or court of Saint Dumas, created a agent of vengeance or whatever.
I remember the name Azrael from, what was it, Batman Arkham City.
Yes. Yeah, he appears, and he's pretty much the same. It's pretty solid. The only difference is, in the comics, Batman not only vanquishes Azrael and, by extension, Jean-Paul Valley, he also, brings him in and helps rehabilitate him. And then, they actually wind up being such bosom buddies for no freaking reason whatsoever, that, when he's a bench warmer. And, so when Batman gets tired, Jean-Paul jumps in, and, he takes over.
Okay, you're it.
Yeah, and,
You be the bat.
they're getting so good at it that, even Jim Gordon can't tell the difference. Which is, the dumbest bit of characterization ever. After he becomes Batman, he just goes off the rails. He becomes completely crazy. And the first thing he does, he designs some new, crazy, sharp bat gauntlets. So, his fingers are razor blades, and they shoot razor bats that fire out of the gauntlets. The Jean-Paul Valley Batman Azrael razor
Every
bat
time you
things.
say Jean Paul, I think you're going to say Jean Paul Jean.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Who am I?
So
I'm the Bat.
So Bane makes some friends while he's in prison. Just basically like a motley crew of distinct bad guys. There's like a bird guy who like has a falcon who like does stuff for him. He calls him Bird. There's a guy named
Wait, he calls the
Trog.
guy Bird, or the guy calls his bird Bird?
No, he has a name for the bird. I don't remember what it is offhand.
But the guy is Bird.
But the guy's name is Bird.
Hey, Bird, get your bird out.
Bird, get Archimedes.
Yeah.
He was like,
It would be
"Fucking
amazing
owl."
if
Your
Bane.
bird thing, Bird.
It'd be amazing if Bane learned the name of the bird and not the guy. Like Bird.
I know Xerxes, really?
Yeah.
Bird's being such a dick.
Xerxes.
You know,
So-
if he can't understand you, I'm
Yeah.
the only one that can talk to Xerxes.
That's why I'm Bird. Shut up, Bird.
Say, Xerxes,
Bird.
I need your help. Bird, tell Xerxes I need his help. Bird guy, whatever your name is.
Yeah. There's also a guy named Trog, who's like a little guy who's like he's basically like a Lord of the Rings like dwarf. Like he's stout and he's like, but he's good at like machines and shit, and he can like
Like
make.
Donatello.
Yeah,
Does
he
machines.
does machines exactly.
Trog like troglodyte?
I don't even know. Let's
Is he
not
like
even
an
get into
old
it.
man?
Troglodyte would be someone who doesn't use technology.
Right, which is ironic. See, he uses his name ironically,
Oh.
I guess, or not. I mean, whatever. They probably knew the technology was in some way
he's
associated
short
with
and
his
weird.
name.
He looks like a trog.
What's called Trog.
A big trog. You look like a trog.
Yeah. There's another guy who's like good with knives, and his name's Zombie because he's bald and he's like weird looking. All right,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
And
And a couple other guys, maybe I don't remember. I think that's it. And they wind up like okay, so they
So
launch.
do they all fight Batman? Do they like gang up on Batman?
They actually wind up kind of. The first thing they do is Bane. You know, he breaks out from prison. Those guys come with him. They come to Gotham, and then they take their time. And Bane studies Batman, and he learns everything he can about like Batman's ways and his methods. And he learns that Batman is tired. At this point, Batman is exhausted, and he's at the breaking point. I mean, he's using like a surrogate to like help do stuff.
Right.
Like he's got like a bench warmer for God's sake.
Yeah.
So like he knows that Batman is at the breaking point. It's always
Right.
about breaking with Bane. So Bane and his team break all of Batman's villains out of Arkham. So everyone's escaped. Joker, Scarecrow, Two-Face,
God.
the Ventriloquist,
Damn.
Killer Croc, everybody's out. And Batman's like, I gotta put everyone back, but I'm already at half capacity.
Right.
And there's actually a
That's
scene
the
where he's like, nah, right before he has to go. So that's the whole story of Nightfall in the beginning is Batman just kind of recapturing all of his old villains.
Okay.
So each issue is like another, like,
And
it's like a-
Bane's like in the shadows.
Yeah,
all the
going
time,
like,
right?
ooh, I'm gonna break
Let's
you.
see how he beats.
Yeah, let's see how he
Riddler.
beats the Riddler, yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, he winds up injecting the Riddler with venom, and Riddler, like, knocks the crap out of Batman. He's like, Riddler's like, I can fight you now! Ah! And it's so stupid. Ooh, did you notice in that panel? Batman's wearing the armband? The Superman?
Oh, he's wearing the Superman armband! Because Superman's dead.
Yep.
Now, Superman hasn't come back yet.
No! Superman can't help Batman. And in
Right.
fact, like, nobody can help anybody because, like, when Doomsday attacked, like, Wonder Woman wasn't there. Like, why? Like, why didn't Wonder Woman help?
We
So,
should
like-
know.
I shouldn't know!
They have armbands
Doomsday
and
destroyed the
communicators
Justice
and shit.
League.
Oh.
The Justice League at that point was weak and lame. So
Well,
like,
that's why she was destroyed.
no.
With
The,
the
Justice
Justice
League. She wasn't even on the Justice League at that point.
Oh.
It was like Booster Gold and Beetle and
Oh, God.
Oh,
that's
that just-
right.
Bloodwind and
Well, she hadn't been
Fire and
helping
Ice.
Superman out for a while then, probably.
I guess.
'cause she wasn't on the Justice League.
No,
so they
but
weren't
like she's
meeting
still Wonder
regularly.
Woman.
She
Like
still exists.
yeah, she still like could.
Well, she was
catch-
probably on her island.
In Mascara, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Busy.
So nobody helps out. It's sad.
And fans don't know that they're just bringing them all back.
Oh,
So,
no.
like, when Batman's gonna
Well-
get his back broken, like, oh, he might not come back.
this is
Superman
on
hasn't
the
come back
this
either.
is on the heels of Superman's death.
Right.
Yeah, so they're like, we kill Superman. Let's break Batman, and then we'll like rape
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. Like it's just
That'd be scary.
all kinds of like they didn't
Just
go
ruin everything.
Yeah, they didn't do any of that. After this, they were like, all right, well, you know what? Let's bring back Superman. Let's fix Batman. Oh, Jesus Christ! Whoa, what a mistake. So this whole story is Batman fights his rogues gallery, and then Bane comes right when he's at his weakest, and then he just breaks his back and then
at the,
throws
most,
him away.
at the easiest possible moment.
Right. He's like, I've shown that I'm ultimate badass by weakening you to the point of exhaustion and then breaking your back while you were at home in your underwear.
He wasn't at home. He was in the bat suit.
He was in the bat suit. He had his smoking. He had his like morning coat over it. Like he had his fucking robe.
Wow.
I think he sleeps in it. It's like he wakes up and remembers.
He literally walks in the door of the Batcave. He's like, Alfred, I'm gonna sleep. I gotta put on my robe and I'm just gonna. Oh no!
That's so cheap.
It's so
Bane
cheap.
is so cheap. How does Bane know where the Batcave is?
Because he figured out who he was. Like, he figured out who Bruce Wayne was.
Oh.
He figured out who Batman
Well,
is.
if you figured out who he is, then that's friggin' easy. Oh.
Yeah.
That's crap.
Why is he putting on his robe over the batsuit?
I don't
He's just
know.
gonna take it off.
Because
and
it's
then
so
take the suit
sad
off
and
again.
He
pathetic.
doesn't take off the batsuit. I think that's what this is
He
saying.
is the batsuit.
Yeah. So.
Look at him. He's all like, "Oh god."
Oh shit! And then he's like,
And
"All
he
right."
just talks to him for half an hour.
He talks to him for half an hour. Here you go. He talks to Bane. Like the final confrontation between Bruce Wayne, Batman, and Bane is they talk for a minute, and then Batman's like, "Let's do this," and then just dies. Like he's like, "Let's do this," and Bane's like, "Meh, meh, meh," and he's like, "Oh god," and then he breaks his back, and then he like leaves him. And he's like, "You are broken and done," and you're like, "Oh no!" And then he goes to the top of like some skyscraper and he throws him off, and he hits like every. Like
Object
on the way down, and then lands in the street. He's like, he looks completely, and I'm like, as a reader, I was like, oh, he's dead.
Oh, he killed it.
His ribs are poking out of his chest. He's dead. And then they're like, oh, he's not quite dead. And then they like rehabilitate him, and then like, then Robin, Tim Drake's dad, was kidnapped by whatever, and so cripple Batman and Alfred are like, we're on the case, and they go globe trotting and like save Tim Drake's dad. So Bruce Wayne is not even in Gotham when Jean-Paul Valley Batman like recaptures the rest of the villains and then fights Bane.
Oh wow! And that's all in this. This is all in volume 1.
All in volume 1.
So why are there 2 more volumes?
Oh, don't even get me started on the 2 volumes. So now, okay, since what happens in volume 1,
so fucking
leap
funny.
through it and just feel free to just ask random questions because that's really what this is about.
I mean, it's
Like,
barely about Batman.
It's barely about anything. Oh yeah, half of it is about like
About
Jean-Paul
Jean-Paul John.
And, okay, let me tell you about that. The whole idea of Nightfall is actually a reaction to 90s comics.
Oh yeah.
The whole damn idea behind Nightfall and
What year
New
is
Batman,
Nightfall?
94?
Okay. So they're actually trying to do something kind of clever.
Yes.
They're trying to
Yes,
be like,
they are.
Violent idiots
Superheroes.
are dumb.
Yes, that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Okay.
And, in fact, okay, so, like, when Jean-Paul Valley takes over as Batman, the first thing he does is he changes his outfit, and he's like, I'm gonna get my gauntlets, and then he's like, I'm not strong enough, and then he makes this obscene Batman costume, which, for the time, was super awesome,
Right.
because Image was out, Spawn had just debuted, the whole damn thing was just basically like, you know who's awesome? Spawn, and the Savage Dragon, and Punisher, and, like, Deathstroke, and all these other characters, and, like, Batman isn't, like, and even Superman, like, dies, like, Batman is old and lame.
Right.
And the editorial department's like, you want to see a fucking 90s Batman? You want to see that? I guarantee you, you do not want to see that.
Here you go.
And they gave it to you. And they were like, here you go, here's 90s Batman. And it's stupid, and you don't want it, and all you want is Batman to come back. Because you're scared and alone and afraid, and you're offended, and like, this obscene bullshit is happening,
This
and you're
crazy Batman's like screaming at you.
Yep, and
killing
crazy
people.
and Batman number 500, which is when Jean-Paul Valley as the new Batman debuts and defeats Bane. It's like the most violent goddamn thing. And then at the end, Bane's like, you should kill me, like, let me die. And this guy who does kill people
Right.
was like, no. And that's what gives Robin and readers hope that, like,
That maybe
there's redemption. Maybe he
Right.
won't be like such
douche.
such a douche after all. Shortly thereafter, he kills a lame Batman villain named Abattoir, who I looked up like years ago and was like, he's nobody. They killed a character that was safe to kill.
Right. Well, of course.
But, like, they were
gonna
like-
have him kill the Joker.
No, but like, you know what? If this were made in the 2000s, like, he would
He
have.
would. Yeah.
But
And then Batman would bring him back to life.
or yeah,
You know who they
Which
could
is
have
great.
killed? Mr. Freeze.
yes.
what?
Well, back
Yeah.
then
Oh.
they were doing nothing with Mr. Freeze. It would have been okay, and they would have just brought him back anyway.
Yeah, that's shit.
You know,
Would
but
they
like,
bring back Arbor, whatever?
Abattoir? No.
Abattoir?
No.
Exactly. They wanted to kill someone that they wouldn't have to bring back.
Yes.
Because if you kill someone, they have to bring. It's like, well, he's just gonna come back.
Right, it's
not
no,
for reals.
No.
Except for Jason
Superman
Todd.
died,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, he's dead because everyone they've killed so far has been dead. They didn't know.
So they could have killed Mr. Freeze. They'd
No,
have been like,
it hadn't
he's
been
dead.
a cliche yet.
Well, had Superman come back yet by
No.
the time Abattoir was killed? Okay.
No. Now,
Do you think they'll
the
ever
reign
do
of the
that?
Supermen came, where, like, we thought Superman came back, and he's, like, 4 different guys, and none of them are
Oh
Superman.
God, I remember that. So Batman has to recapture all of his villains.
Yes.
But he doesn't capture any of them, right? Because
No, he captures all of them. Like, he captures most
does,
of them.
or Jean Paul does.
Batman does. Like,
Okay.
Bruce Wayne takes care of
that's why he's
almost
tired.
all of them. Yeah.
So what is the best fight that Batman has when he's getting
When
it?
he's doing this, they're all pretty lame.
What?
Well, like he matches.
He fights all his biggest villains,
Yep.
and the fights are all lame.
They're all pretty lame. Like,
Because they weren't what the book was about.
no,
They weren't writing the book to have an
that's
epic
so stupid.
Batman
I
Joker
know,
fight.
and if they'd done it now, it would have been so much cooler. And they kind of did it with Death of the Family.
I mean, if you did it now, it would be the Arkham games.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
more or
fight
less it.
all
Actually,
over your
the Arkham
villains.
games are actually kind of like a retelling of Nightfall, but Batman
Except
wins
without
at the
Bat-
end.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bane isn't the ultimate.
Bane's
no, he's
just
actually kind of a
random
joke.
Villain who sucks.
There's no, they're all lame. The only thing that was really kind of cool was
Damn it.
Joker and Scarecrow team up, and they kidnap the mayor, and they make the mayor commit a bunch of prank calls against the city. Like, he's like, order an airstrike, or like, flood the
Oh.
tunnels, or do all these things. And
Like really
Flood
serious
the
prank
tunnels?
calls.
yeah,
I don't
just
think you
stupid.
can do that.
Like pretty bad prank calls. Like,
Yeah, well, they're
like, now your
terroristic
refrigerator's running.
prank
Yeah.
calls,
Okay.
and.
It's not order 20 pizzas from Domino's and then don't pay.
No,
to the
but they
mayor.
should have done that. Scarecrow shoots Batman with some Fear Toxin, and Batman is under the influence of the Fear Toxin, and he sees the Joker, and he has these visions of Jason Todd, aka Robin 2, like being killed by the Joker.
Right.
And he flips out, and he just starts wailing on the Joker. He's
Nice.
screaming his name. So, like, that was pretty cool. Batman's battle with Firefly was really cool.
Is that what's happening here?
That's what's happening right there. It's one of my favorite artists from the story.
Who is Firefly?
He is a pyro maniac,
I see.
and he made a fireproof suit so that he could set things on fire and not burn.
Okay.
That's it.
He ties up Firefly and dangles him over crocodiles, and Firefly's like, "Stop! You can't leave me like this." And he's saying to himself, "I can't pull him up. I'm too tired."
Yeah.
Like, this must be right before he gets his back.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And then one of the crocodiles leaps high enough and
Just high
wrenches
enough.
Firefly's head off.
You just want to see Batman responsible for somebody's death, and I don't understand why.
Because it's impossible that someone doesn't die while he's on watch.
I mean, people die all the time, but not by his hand.
He makes mistakes.
Yeah, he makes mistakes.
People's lives are
but not
lost.
in
But you know what? Jason
not
Todd,
in
right
killing
there.
people.
Yeah,
He doesn't
that's his
kill
greatest
Jason
failure.
Todd. Yeah, people die all the time. I'm saying you want him to be responsible for somebody's death.
He was responsible for
You want
Jason
a
Todd's
villain
death.
to die by his hand.
Or at least Batman thought so.
Well,
Well,
Batman's
yeah,
more
but it's
like,
not
I
the same
shouldn't
thing
have
as like
trained
I pushed him
Well,
and
Batman-
he fell and died.
Batman thought so in the fact that he was just like...
I mean,
such a kid
Batman
who
thinks he's
wasn't ready.
responsible for
Yeah.
every person that he fails to save. It's not the same thing as
No,
like deliberately
You want to see
pummeling
Tim Burton
someone until
Batman.
they die.
Tim Burton Batman, where he's like, I'm going to tie your foot to a gargoyle.
Yes. And then
He
you're
wouldn't
going to
have
fall.
any more. He'd be the Punisher.
Or
Well, really, it was the helicopter.
Or Azrael, yeah, or
That
Batman,
killed the
or
Joker.
Jean-Paul
well, I was
Batman.
going to say Batman from Batman Begins, where he's like,
I don't have to save
I don't have to save you.
That's the same thing.
You just killed it.
You just killed that guy. You. I don't care how you justify it to yourself. You're a
Yeah.
murderer.
Yeah.
Batman Nightfall is. I mean, like, I would love to just get into the nitty gritty of it, but like, it doesn't matter. It's so superficial and
Well,
bullshit.
what happens after this?
After?
So, like,
Okay,
like crazy Azrael Batman takes over, and he's going.
this is what
nuts.
happens after this. Nightfall and Night Quest.
Okay,
Which I'm not gonna
wait,
get into.
The first one's Nightfall, I thought. So
yeah,
it's Nightfall,
this is Nightfall.
and then Nightfall
Night
again?
Quest.
Oh.
Night's End.
Night's End. Now,
Hold that.
Yeah, read that.
That's
Why would you read that?
Well, if you were reading
This
Batman
is a
at the time,
college
Well, yeah.
textbook version
if you're,
of
just,
Batman.
if you're reading every Batman book.
And then next semester we'll get into
So I
Night's
assume
Quest.
Night
Exactly.
Quest is
There will be
about
lots of tests.
Batman having to take on the bad Batman,
Night Quest is more or less
or it's just
bad Batman going further crazy,
Okay.
and Bruce Wayne going through the merry old globe-trotting adventure with Alfred.
Oh.
And
What?
Because Batman, Robin's dad was kidnapped and taken to a faraway place, so cripple Batman and Alfred have to go to wherever the hell he is and rescue him.
And he couldn't get, like, Nightwing to do that.
No.
he's got this like crazy like digital visor that light comes out of.
Yeah,
like,
the
he's
costume
just transformed
keeps
into
changing into,
Yeah.
like, so it becomes
more and more
inhuman.
There's a panel here in Night Quest with lots of shit moving around, and it's like they're trying to do the webbing thing,
Oh, yeah.
or the Spawn with the flowing chains thing, but it's not that good. Like, it doesn't
No.
look that good.
I was gonna say it looks like
people-
a symbiote attacking.
Yeah, people like to see like gnarly stuff flowing around.
This is
and
actually
grabbing
very
people. Let's try to
reminiscent.
do that.
This is reminiscent of it's all in circles. Like comics are all about like copying each other.
Right.
When Stan Lee was still editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, I think I've told this story before, but if I haven't, it's great. Stan Lee had a friend who worked for DC, and DC didn't understand why Marvel was outselling them. And they would come up with these outlandish ideas as to why. Like, oh, they use a lot of red on their covers. You know, like, so they would tell them, the publisher would tell the comic guys at DC, like, oh, put a lot of red on your covers. And as soon as Stan heard that, he's like, pull all the red from our covers this month. And then he'd be like, oh, they use a lot of word balloons on their covers. So he's like, so Stan would be like, pull all the word balloons. Like, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah,
just,
that's not why.
People read Marvel back then because it was more about people than it was about, like, these outlandish stories like Batmite and, like, the Nth Dimension and crap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like, Nightfall was... I think it started out as, like, a neat editorial experiment and then just spiraled into this
Right.
mess. Because here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to, like, test your readers. Because the editor-in-chief was like, you don't want this! And readers were like, yes, we do. This guy's awesome. Which is, I think, another reason why Jean-Paul Batman, like, kept getting more ridiculous. They're like, no, we have to make him completely unlikable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're screwed.
Yeah, otherwise we'll have to keep doing this forever.
Yeah. And it has to stop.
So, alright.
So
How long does it take Batman... Well, okay, so when does Batman come back as Batman?
Night's End.
Night's End.
really?
Yep.
At the
Takes him
beginning
that
of
long.
It
Night's
takes
End?
2 of these to get back.
Well,
And
I mean,
even then,
this one was him not becoming Batman.
that was him starting as Batman, getting his back broken, and then leaving.
And then being like, oops.
Peace. This one is about Jean-Paul Valley screwing up as Batman. This one is about Batman getting kind of like retrained, like retraining his body to being Batman again.
Right.
Which I imagine is really hard when your back has been broken.
Yes, but he did get it fixed, so
So, new Batman
yeah.
basically lets Batman just leave because he's like, I've beaten you. This
Yeah.
is mine.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way, new Batman is better than Bane.
Yes.
Because new Batman got Gotham.
Yes. Yeah, and in fact, like, when Bane gets Gotham, he's just like, the only time you see him, like, doing anything, he's in a nice, like, apartment kind of, like, thing. He just looks like he's in, like, a really nice hotel room, and he's just like, yes, well, I've got Gotham.
You could do that anyway.
And you're like...
You just rented the hotel.
Well, like...
Shit, you could have, like, taken the hotel over hostily and then been like, now I live in this penthouse.
Well, I
I
mean,
can go
like,
out whenever I want and do whatever, because I'm Bane. Fuck it.
His rule over Gotham is essentially me just going like, well, I rule Lake Hiawatha now. Yep, it's mine.
Yeah.
And then, before I can
close.
actually do anything about it, somebody beats the hell out of me. Like the mayor.
Well,
Right.
you also didn't, like...
Defeat its champion.
How long does it take Batman to unseat...
Right there.
Oh. Right here?
It is
Halfway
through.
through.
Okay.
Halfway.
Yeah,
He
halfway
has to
through
train
Night's
for half
End.
that book.
And then he beats up...
Oh my
And he-
god.
well, he doesn't even beat up Jean-Paul Valley. When he beats new Batman is so, like, off the rails at this point that it's like, all he has to do is play mind games with him. And he winds up luring him through a really small crawl space in the cave. And he has to take off the suit in order to fit through it. New Batman does.
Oh.
And all he keeps is the big, stupid helmet. Because he's like, I'm Batman, I'll never relinquish. So he just looks like a dude with this crazy, like, helmet on. And then he's like, okay, you have nowhere to run. And then Batman loosens a footboard and pulls it down, and the sunlight comes through, and it, like, blinds him because he has his UV lenses on. And, or his night vision on. And he, like, has to take it off and face the light. And then Batman and Jean-Paul, like, have to climb out of the cave of the darkness.
Together?
Yeah. And then, when they're done, Batman's like, okay, well, bye.
So now
Now
you're
you're
not
done.
Batman anymore.
And you can just go. And you're like, what?
Thanks for your time. You'll get severance.
And where does
check
he
in the
go?
mail.
Yeah. I don't really.
When he just disappears.
Well, he like leaves and he becomes Azrael, and then
Oh. So this is Azrael in his, like, Azrael getup, I guess?
in
He's
his
like,
Batman,
all right.
in his new Batman.
Oh, it's his new
With
Batman.
red.
yeah,
It's
new
like,
Batman.
now I'm
just-
red.
Yeah,
Well, so you can tell us apart really easily. Wait, your costumes look entirely different because one of you looks like a robot.
yeah.
I
Well,
think
also
we're gonna have
Azrael was red, so it's kind of like he's just
returning.
infusing more
Yeah.
Azrael.
So
He's pretty much lost
He's
everything that
bringing
Batman taught him.
Azrael
Yes.
more into Batman.
Exactly.
Being like, no, I'm making it mine.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
going to be what I wanted to be in the first place and forget everything that you told me, Batman.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Here it goes into the light.
And they just walk up, and it's just like, here, you have to see the light, and then it's over.
But then he says,
That's it.
you are the Batman. You've always been the Batman.
Oh my god, that's
Because you
lame.
shined a light in my eye.
Batman, Nightfall, Night Quest, and Night's End. I mean, like, I was kind of hesitant to talk about the other two, but like, that's really all that happens.
There's not,
So I guess,
matter.
like, so that's all that happens, and all this shit. Catwoman's in there too somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
know,
I saw some Catwoman stuff.
but who
There
cares?
looks like there's just a whole lot of... Eh.
Yeah. So, anyway, there you go. Batman Nightfall from the 90s. A gem from the 90s era. A reaction to 90s comics. So there you go. You can pick it up at your local comic book store if you really want to take the dare. And, yeah. So, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I am Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
And this was Back Issues Batman Nightfall. See you next time, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Take care.